Iran, there's been a notably different posture from the administration this time around with the protests when compared to 2009 and those protests. Obviously, there's already been sanctions. The president kind of telegraphed more sanctions potentially coming in the days ahead. What is the objective here for the United States? Is it to stop the protest crackdowns? Is it to have Iran change the laws that are being protested right now, or is it regime change? What's the kind of goal here?
So what our purpose is, and you've heard from the president, you've heard from me, you've heard from the National Security Advisor at this podium and on various networks, is that we stand with all the citizens of Iran who are inspiring the world with their bravery. And we will continue to stand with them. That's how we see our role here. Women and men in Iran should have the right to freedom of expression and assembly. Women should be able to wear what they want, free from violence or harassment. Iran must end its use of violence against its own citizens simply for exercising their fundamental freedoms, their fundamental rights. We will continue to take action to hold Iran officials accountable and support the rights of our Iranians to protest freely. We have, just last week, we laid out the actions that we were taking, making sure that Iranians had access to internet as the government was stopping that freedom to access their right to global internet. We took actions there, and we'll have more this week. You'll hear from the United States on what will be imposing further costs on those, how we'll be imposing further costs on those perpetrators of violence against peaceful protesters, and we'll continue to hold Iranian officials accountable.
But there's no goal to elevate the protests to create perhaps instability in the regime or anything?
Well, we see our role are making sure that we show our support and stand with the citizens of Iran at this time. And as you have seen from our actions, that we are taking this very seriously, and you'll hear more this week. And can you say that first part about the CIA? I didn't hear that part.
So Bill Burns gave an interview yesterday,
okay,
and he talked in support of the Iranian demonstrators. But was this coordinated by the White House? Because for him to speak, that has weight. So is this a direct message?
But we have been very clear. The president's voice also has weight, right? The president has spoken about his concerns about the intensity of the violent crackdown on peaceful protesters in Iran, again, who are demanding, as you know, their equal rights and basic human dignity. He spoke out about that during the UN during UNGA assembly that we saw, the General Assembly that we saw just 2 weeks ago. He was very clear. You've heard statements from him. You've heard statements from his National Security Advisor. You've heard statements from me. So as administration, as a holistically, we've been very, very clear. And the president has taken actions. We're making it easier for Iranians to access the internet, including through facilitating greater access to secure outside platforms and services. And we're holding Iranian officials accountable. And so you've seen us take actions through the U.S. Treasury and do our part in making sure that we are supporting the Iranian people.
But my point here that I'm trying to articulate is because he's the head of the CIA.
No, I hear your question.
Sure, but because of that, do you think that the Iranian regime might see that as an interference by the American intelligence, which is often they said this accusation against the administration?
I hear your question, but what I'm saying is we as an administration, the president directly, is speaking out on what we are seeing on the ground. We have concerns. We believe that the Iranian people, women in particular, have the right to their freedoms, and we're going to speak out about that. And I think that's important. You all are reporting this. You all are seeing yourselves what is happening on the ground, and so we're going to continue. We're going to continue to impose further costs on the perpetrators of these violence. And so we're going to continue to speak out. And I think that's the right thing to do. We think that's the right thing to do.